What it do? It's your boy Cinco Band's the man. Trying to get 100 grand. You know I got the plan. I'm back. Yes, sir. We back in this thing, man. New updates. We got Diddy updates. We got the Punisher. It's going down, you know. And I do this for y'all, man. But we up early. Let's see what act on. This is a Diddy update, guys. The Punisher.
Imaginez le soir et les splendeurs barbares accoudées à ton bras.
At Freddy's, we put a little extra effort into every steak burger we make. The brisket in our new barbecue brisket steak burger, it's smoked for.
Hotel, like where did these events happen at?
I was all super high-end hotels.
Gotcha.
So I remember it was the Trump Tower,
That's the Punisher, y'all.
Hotel,
That's
Central
the Punisher.
high-end, super. I Googled it, and the joint was like $30K a night, yo. On the lines of super high-end, super suites. One of the suites, man, in the London hotel. It was so crazy when I got out of it. I Googled it, and the joint was like $30K a night, yo.
Wow.
I never seen nothing like this in my life, man. The hotel room looked like, you know that scene in the Titanic when they walk in that ballroom and the stairway well comes down?
Right.
Like the hotel room was crazy, man.
How often did they call you or book you?
Like I said in my I can't remember the exact amount of time. So I estimated between 8 and 12 times, but it would be like every few months, but it would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like I would come Friday night, then they'd come back Saturday night, then come back Sunday. And then I might not be called for 3-4 months, and then they just pop up. So at the time, I thought they lived out of town. You know, they would. She would call me from a Cali number, so I assumed they were out of state. And she basically said, "Yo, can I hit you when we're in town?"
Right.
But it would be multiple nights in a row, but months in between.
Right. And if some of these questions that I asked you may seem repeated because you've been asked these same questions, so some of these questions even Puff was participating. Could you explain your first time going to one of these events?
Yeah. So I really believed they were a married couple. Like when I got there, I didn't recognize
This is
Cassie.
Right.
Like I saw.
This is how he figured out that it was Diddy. He said it before, but he gave more details here.
She looked familiar, but honestly, when I saw her, I thought she was Megan Good.
Right.
Like if I was gonna pin, I was like, "Oh, I think this is Megan Good." But then when I looked on the Google, Megan Good was much thicker. So I just
Damn, Cassie was bad as fuck. Nigga thought it was Megan Good he was fucking. Let me look at Megan Good. Holy shit. Megan Good. Yeah, but Megan Good's a little bit darker though, huh? But Megan Good is fine as a
He must have been
motherfucker.
fantasizing
Jesus
about
Christ.
Megan. He was fantasizing about Meg.
Okay.
That's all that was.
I couldn't really figure it out. So, and then when she said her husband, when Puff walks out to finally, do his voyeur thing.
Yo, by the way, he's going to get into.
Now, mind you, I covered this last night. I covered this yesterday, but my stream system and everything was messing up. So we doubling back. Y'all got to hear this.
Like
And we
the
live.
actual steps of the freak off. He said it would always start with Cassie and him. I guess that's during the oil each other up portion. Diddy was never in the room at that point. But supposedly Cassie would tell him, at some point my husband's going to walk in the room. Don't look at him.
Right.
Don't talk to him. And you only talk to me. And Diddy would walk out, and he said there was always a chair and a table set up, like in the corner. You're going to hear him say it. And he said Diddy would never give him instructions. He would give instructions to Cassie. And he says he has bad hearing. And one time he thought Diddy was saying something to him. And he was like, what the fuck? Because he thought he heard something wrong or something different. Like he thought Diddy was trying to say, it's my time to fuck him now. Like, wait, Diddy about to fuck me? What the hell? But he ain't know it was Diddy at first.
And see what's going on.
So hold on real quick. It didn't start with Puff in the room.
Nah, never started with him in the room.
Yo, Cam, we can't take you seriously when you look like Yo, Cam look young as fuck. How Cam look like he's still on the set of Paid in Full, bro? We can't take Cam serious with like this, bro. We can't take Cam serious, dog. We can't take this nigga serious, bro. I'm not taking Cam serious, my nigga.
Shout
Like,
out
yo,
Cam.
Okay.
It would only be me and her, and she said at some point her husband's gonna walk in, and I'm not supposed to acknowledge him, look at him, act like he's not even in the room.
Right.
So we'll be like on the couch, let's say on one end of the room, and then like on the far end of the room, it'll be like a table with a chair, and eventually he'll come in the room and like sit in the area, of course, the room, like watching, and we're supposed to act like he's not there.
How often pardon me, not how often, how long did it take until you realized that it was Diddy?
Bro, like, I want to say like over a year.
Get the fuck out of here. Wow. A whole year? Why? So let me, how long, okay, let's, I want to stick to that for a second, but how long did you know till it was Cassie?
So the minute I found out it was Diddy, that's when I knew it was Cassie.
So it took a year for you to find out for Cassie as well?
Yeah, yo, okay. I didn't recognize it. Like when I jumped out of it, I did try to do the Google searches. Like I wanted to try to figure out who it was, right. But I'm Googling a married couple.
Right.
So every result I'm getting is not leading me to the right places because they're not married.
Got you.
You know, so and I never found out with a visual cue. It was a hotel, the ex's house, and I would get there, let's say 2 a.m, and sometimes nothing would pop off for hours. So in this case, they threw me in like an extra room in the suite. Mm-hmm. And just to kill time, I happened to cut on the TV, but and the TV had a welcome message. So the TV said, ex's house would like to welcome Mr. Sean Combs. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I had no idea, man.
So that's how you found out that
must have been a mistake. Because remember, they were staying under pseudonyms. But obviously, some of these places eventually would be allowing this, they would probably know Sean John or whatever, or Sean Combs. And probably have, when you go to them hotels and you see it on the screen?
Was Cassie and Diddy by just cutting on the TV and seeing the introduction on the television. Wow.
On the TV.
Wow. I seen also in the transcripts that you would say that it was just a sex scene in the beginning. Nothing, no intercourse. How long until you had actual intercourse? What was happening in the first few sessions when it wasn't any intercourse?
No, it was only the first session where it wasn't intercourse.
Okay, so 10 times, one time it was only...
By the way, he's also going to admit that Diddy required him to ejaculate around the vagina of Cassie. And I ain't going to lie to you, chat. I think because after he nutted on her pussy or in her pussy, she would oftentimes go in the next room with Diddy. Diddy would, as soon as he nuts, like I guess he was like, whatever that bullshit, and Diddy would immediately get up and walk. So it's like Diddy waiting for the nut. Like, oh, he nutted. Diddy would walk in the room. She would follow behind him. Wouldn't say nothing to him. I think Diddy was in there trying to taste the secondhand nut. I think Diddy was sucking the nut out of her. Word too, bro. Like, we got to be honest. Diddy's trying to suck the nut out of her, bro. It's like, yo, he's like, they're racing to get in the room that Diddy could go taste the shit. Keep it 100. They're using it to moisturize his nipples, all type of shit.
That's wild.
Not intercourse the first time.
The first time. And it was offered, yo. But I was so bugged out. Like this wasn't my hustle, right? So I'm really in here thinking this is a married couple and they want to do some voyeur sexy scene. Mm-hmm. So we did the set up on the couches, the baby all rubbed down or whatever. And then at some point, Puff jumped up. I didn't know it was him. He left the room. She left the room to talk to him. And she came back like, yo, that was perfect. We happy. We good. Mm-hmm. And then she said to me, yo, do you want to finish? Meaning, I guess, do I want to bust a nut out? You know what I'm saying? And my first example, I'm trying to be professional. Like, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, if y'all good, I'm good. This ain't about me. And I just left, But she did say, all right, well, when we get back in town, we want to hit you again. Is it okay? I'm like, yeah, I just got $2K to rub down like a super bad chick. So of course I'm down if you want to hit me back. But it was offered to me the first time and I actually turned it down, yo. Trying to be on some.
So Diddy left the room at this point. Cassie comes back. Asks the man, do you want to finish? Basically, you want to get back up in this thing and bust your shots. You feel me? No, Diddy was there.
Professional.
Was baby oil mandatory?
Mandatory, yeah.
Yeah, he got a baby oil. That's mandatory. I seen also in the transcripts that you said it was just supposed to be like a sexy scene, meaning that Puff would tell you to move the candles a certain way or tell her to move the candles a certain way for lighting purposes for his visual. Could you explain that?
Yeah, so when I first got in there, she made it clear that this was a scene we were setting up for her husband.
Okay.
So, it was like couches, all the furniture in the suite was covered in sheets. Like everything was covered in sheets. So it was like a...
Damn, they had the freak off room set up like Dexter. You ever seen a Dexter kill room? Chat, I've been watching Dexter constantly back to back. I love Dexter. Dexter kill room. This is how the freak off was set up, gang. Let's see, where is it at? Come on, man, what the fuck?
Preparation. I have to understand.
He would set up the room. Yeah. set.
Shit.
Look,
Yeah, I remember that.
the rooms were set up with like mad saran wrap and everything. So like, yeah, this is the killer room right here. So it's like a freak off room. You see all this saran wrap? It's like the freak off room, bro. Holy. All right.
Single chair across from like a big sofa, and we were supposed to sit on there and kind of, I'm supposed to put oil on myself. She's supposed to do the same, and then at some point we're rubbing on each other, and we doing little like masturbating. I'm masturbating, she's masturbating, but you could tell it was an act.
Right.
Like we're like in character, like one of them corny Cinemax movies. You know what I'm saying? Like the sex scene in them little Cinemax movies. So we're trying to make it look like the part, you know, and then he would give subtle cues because he's across the room and the room's dark, everything's candlelit, and he'll say like, yo, move a little bit, yo, move the candle, I can't really see, or move the body. And he would never talk to me, not one word to me, only to her. And if it's instructions for me, it goes to her and she tells me. So it was like a real scripted kind of routine, and it really went like that every single time.
So he was basically orchestrating a sex scene without directly talking to you, but telling her.
This is the one who keeps it moving. He stocks the right parts and knows just where to find them. Because this is about more than business. The industrial grade products you need. Call, click, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Caitlin Clark, graded assists. Gamebridge, graded assists for your savings.
Yo, Cam is top 5 funniest niggas without trying. Top 5, like he not even trying, bro.
What was that like? Pause.
Bro, that was like the weirdest shit ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's already weird knowing like a dude
Muslim
coming in
mask.
the room, you know? But, you know, I'm messing with the chick, and mind you, I'm seeing all this peripheral.
Right.
So it's extra crazy because it's not straight on. So it's at the corner of my eye. I'm like, yo, this dude got on like a veil, and he's half the time he's beating off and he's walking side to side. So it was
Yo, Diddy's pacing with a hijab on, beating off, just walking side to side. That's crazy.
it was definitely a difficult space to try to be in. But I ain't no front, bro. At the time, I'm greedy. I want this bread. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the scenario and I'm trying to make it work. But it was tough, man. It was tough.
It was just a veil. Somebody told me he had a Yankee fitted over the veil. Everything. So
Thank you. Yo, I can't talk like this.
everything was just covering the face. Super duper pause and naked from the neck down every single time.
Every single time, man. So that's a little construed, right? It was a veil, just period. Like the ones the Muslim women wear, so you don't see anything but the eyes. But I think at some point after like the year and change, and it was a while. He wore
Man, that nigga should have known Kanye. Kanye could have gave him a little KKK outfit. You don't see nothing but the eyes there too.
a veil for a minute.
Right.
I think they might have figured out. I saw the TV, and at some point he just changed to a Yankee fitted. So at some point he dropped the veil, and I guess he knew. Maybe he saw the TV on, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I probably left it, and I guess he figured out, homie figured it out. So he stopped wearing the veil, and he just, like, rock a fitted.
Right. I also seen that you say when you and her were doing what you guys were doing, he would be pacing back and forth with a bottle of Astroglide.
I'm the realest podcast personality out there. Who else? Hit that like and subscribe right now. Hit that notification so y'all can get everything. Who else gonna wake and bake with you guys? First blunt of the day. It's with y'all, my peeps.
Yeah, man. And every time, you know, it was obviously something he
Yo, why
was
can't look so confused?
into in terms of visually watching this. So
What was being done with the Astroglide though? Paul.
I guess he's using it as lubricant to beat off. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know, he's pleasuring himself during the action. So I'm obviously he's using that for lube.
Do you consider Puff a cuckold?
Yeah, I mean the whole time that's what I thought it was.
Right.
Look at Cam.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's because you keep using the word voyeur. This is cuckold activity.
That's a
Yeah,
fact.
no, without a doubt.
Yeah, we're gonna step it up to cuckold.
Yeah. So I'm saying voyeur because that's what she said to me.
Right.
Like when I came in.
You know why? Because they down. You know why? Because voyeur don't seem as bad as cuckold. So they downplay it with the yo. I'm just a voyeur. Nah, you was an official cuckold, nigga. Because voyeur, I mean, you watching anybody, not your girl. Cuckold is when your girl is in play. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he's sound cuckoldish, man. Did Puff ever participate?
Nah, man. Nah, he stayed across the room. Like I said in my testimony, the closest he got to
Yo, Cam is wilding.
actual action, like it was one time.
Yo, shout out to the cameraman there. They getting all the good reactions from Cam.
This stuff, almost every session happened in the living room, but it was one specific one where we got moved to the bedroom, me and her. So in the bedroom, he's in a closer proximity because he's walking around the bed. And at some point,
The fuck? This nigga walking around with the bed with Astroglide in one hand, his dick in the other. If it's not Astroglide, it's a camera.
Strange.
This freaky ass nigga, man. Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. Bro, again, it takes a certain type of person to be able to perform with another man with his dick out, beating off, and he's always behind you. He's not even in front of you. Pause.
like almost at like the strip club, he took like a stack of hundreds, just threw it on the bed while we was while me and her was having sex, and we both was like what's going on? And he just was like, nah, I'm enjoying.
Yo,
it.
who's running the hey, whoever who's gonna do my I know my camera people. All right, Academy. You see how they doing cameras over there? I need all my facial expressions caught like that. This is how you're supposed to get it down. This is how you're supposed to get the interview down.
Shit. And, we just kept doing what we was doing.
Right. So the nigga basically, pardon me, I'm gathering information as we talk.
So
Y'all in the bed, he's circling the room, takes out sack of honey, just throw it on the bed.
Just throw it on the bed.
Wow. It's crazy. Sorry about that. I was just thinking, what was the most money you made doing this with them?
Every single time I came, it was $1,200 to $2,000. But like I said, sometimes I could somebody that, all right, I'm comfortable with this dude,
Right.
So I always took it as however the vibe was, however things went, it worked for her. So that's why she said, I want to call you back,
Got you. Did Puff ever appear jealous while you guys were having intercourse or participating with each other?
Not at all, man. Not at all. It was like, like I told you, the focus was making sure he got the right visuals, the lighting was right, put more baby oil on. Like it was
jacking off to live.
It was
porn.
he was into it from an enjoyment standpoint. Not. Yeah.
So, but you saying he basically never was jealous. Did Cassie ever reach out to you without Puff?
Nah. It was strictly business. And honestly, man, I wasn't even trying to play that. Get caught up in some type of fantasy. I know one of the other dudes got caught up in some fantasy of they could be together. I knew what it was, man. Like,
right.
I'm she with a dude in $30,000 a night suites. Like I move. I can pull it off with chicks, but that's a tough act to follow. You know what I'm saying? So I saw it as an opportunity, man, and I was just trying to come through to, come up whatever way I could with that easy money. How I saw it.
Yeah, I ain't knocking you, my nigga. How was that pussy though?
Oh. What? How was the pussy though? Clap it up for camera, y'all. How was the pussy though? The world wants to know.
Nah, this is my type of fucker right here. I ain't gonna cap with y'all, chat. This is my type of fucker right here. I ain't gonna cap with you, bro. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna lie. I do got a question that Cam missed though, and y'all gonna say it's gay though, but it's like it's really like questioning.
Pornhub shirt.
Because I'm trying to understand the mind of Diddy, and this is not gay. This is not I'm not thinking no gay shit. I honestly do want to know, and again, I gotta say pause. No, can I say that word before? Yeah, I want him to get mad at me. No, y'all know what I'm about to say. Did Diddy ever nut? Pause. Extra pause. You know what I'm talking about. The reason why I'm saying that is that Diddy required the guy to nut. It seems like Cassie's sexual gratification wasn't from her ejaculating either, right? Or not ejaculating, but her orgasm or climaxing. So she was doing it for Diddy. None of this tells you when Diddy was satisfied, unless he was just satisfied when he was rubbing the other man's nut on himself. You get what I'm saying? Like, Chad, again, it's not like we fantasize about. I'm just saying, when was Diddy content? Or was he really on some was he edging? Because if he's jerking off the whole time, but he wants the guy to finish, we never hear about him finishing. Maybe he was just edging. I don't know what the fuck, bro. Anyway.
I mean, bro, even if it was fire.
Bro, was the pussy good for your family? Let's stop with political shit. We was Harlem time, my nigga. You 39th Street on 40th. Was the pussy, how was that pussy, my nigga?
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I couldn't get there, bro.
Okay.
Like I got a dude pacing back and forth beating his joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My peripherals, my spider senses is wilding. You know what I'm saying? And especially when I found out it was Puff. When I found out it was Puff, it got all the way worse because if you grew up in Harlem, if you grew up in that era, I can't validate it, but everybody knows there's rumors, right? There's rumors that
Black Doggy, thank you for the 5. He says a shot to Cam.
he could be, you know, interested in dudes. So the whole time I'm semi-paranoid. Like I wrote in my book, bro, for real. I got a hearing problem.
Right.
And sometimes when he would give her directions, I would hear like something completely different. Like he'll say, yo, I like the position you in. And I'm like, yo, did he just say I wish I could penetrate him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hearing, like, yo, hold on, wait, what did you just say? Like,
so basically, you never could get comfortable because. So let's just be clear and get the elephant out the room for the audience. You're not gay? You're saying?
Absolutely not. Bro.
Right. So therefore, you're saying that already, just to put everything into perspective, that you're there for this chick and to get this money.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Somebody just said in the chat, I would be panicking the whole time. I'll be like, yo, if this nigga Diddy nut on me, fuck this $2,000 I'm getting. I gotta go kill this nigga now. Imagine you're in a freak off. You're fucking a bad bitch, but Diddy's whacking off. He's putting more Astroglide on his shit. He's going crazy. He's giving her instructions. Like, the thing is, he in your blind spot. Pause. No, Diddy. Literally. He in your blind spot. He whacking off. You putting in work, but you constantly thinking like, yo, if this nigga shoot a load of nut on my back on some take that shit, I gotta backhand him. We gonna have I don't know what type of fight it's gonna be. It's gonna be like a fucking, y'all gonna be mud wrestling with the baby oil on both of y'all. You feel what I'm saying? Now, you know what we also didn't get? If Diddy's using lube to masturbate, and I know this might be some TMI questions. Does Diddy put baby oil on himself? Like he's wishing he was in the, like, are they the only two that's in the baby oil? Or is he like, let me oil up too? What the fuck? It's like a slip and slide up in that bed.
You don't know it's Puff this whole time. So you're already thinking like, okay, this nigga's being weird, whoever it is. And I got to keep an eye out for him because we don't know what type, in case he want to, if he get mad, if he want to join, I'm not with none of that. I'm here to bone your bitch. Like
sidebar.
Paid me to do and stay the fuck out of it. But what you're saying is the paranoia intensified once you found out it was Puff and you like, oh, hold on. Now this shit done got to a 10 because not only am I fucking this nigga girl, but it's Puff. So now you saying you hearing shit that you wasn't hearing. And now you can't really enjoy the pussy like you want to enjoy it. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like I'm not.
Yo, enjoy the pussy is crazy. That's what I'm saying. Only Cam could get off some of this stuff, bro. You know, people would be like, technically, this wasn't consensual. Like, technically, you asking if the nigga was enjoying this shit is crazy. But it's Cam. It's killer. It's killer.
Connected, yo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't think I got a real erection the entire time.
Right.
I was loading up on any pill, anything that I could take just to get there because I could not connect.
K Flock attorney, thank you for the 5. It says, Ack, I'm part of your freaky chat. I could definitely perform even in front of Diddy, easily. All right, so y'all got one nigga who's trying to say, if any islands at Diddy should hire him, he said he could perform in front of you.
Yeah, we going.
I'm saying it was too paranoid, it was official paranoid, bro. Like,
right.
Because I'm not used to being in that situation. And
damn right, yo, in that room, yo, this is what this nigga was thinking. He's like, yo, if this nigga nut on me, it's gonna be like this story right here. This fucking story right here.
One nigga got that nigga up out of there. Thank God. Yeah, I had to fight some nigga in the bathroom. No homo. We slipping on semen.
That's what's gonna be. Yo, this was what's gonna happen. Diddy done nutted on this nigga's back. He turned around like, what the fuck? Yo, that's the Astroglide, Playboy. My bad. Yo, Cassie, come on, let's go. Like, come on. Oh, hell nah.
I had to fight some nigga in the bathroom. No homo. We slipping on semen. Niggas was jerking off in the bathroom, nigga. Me, I got that nigga.
Get this nigga face.
Up out of there, all that shit. You know, this is parts of the story that.
What?
I don't like to.
Wait, what? We doing what?
Only had to fight one nigga, got that nigga up out of there. Thank God. Yeah, I had to fight some nigga in the bathroom. No homo. We slipping on semen. Niggas was jerking off in the bathroom, nigga. I got that
Look how he just removed the mic from his mouth. Pause.
nigga up out of there, all that shit.
It's like he followed up like, yo, bro, you never told me this part of the story. Yo, you told the story dumb times. I never heard about this part.
You know, this is parts of the story that I don't like to tell because he only had to fight one nigga, got that nigga up out of there, thank God. Yeah.
Nigga went from smiling.
Yeah, I had to fight some nigga in the bathroom, no homo. We slipping on semen.
The smile going away.
Niggas was jerking off in the bathroom, nigga.
What?
We feel.
Look at his face. Yo, chat. Yo, no, we got emotes. Remember when we were on Twitch, we could have emotes with like a little facial expression. We needed this as an emote. This got to be an emote. This face right here, like, what the fuck? The fuck is this nigga talking about?
I got that nigga up out of there, all that shit. You know, this is parts of the story that I don't like to tell because.
All right.
And it's like homie got on the veil and butt naked, and then like I said, I find out it's Puff, and then it's the rumors. So real talk, I'm like, yo, I don't want this to go left.
Right.
So,
well, listen, man, we're gonna get you some pink horsepower because it don't matter what the situation is. That joint work. We're gonna, you from the block, we'll send you a case up there. Nah, you already, nigga. That ain't about nothing. Did you go raw?
You already, nigga. Yo, Cam is keeping the hood even in the interview. Now you already, nigga. Like, yo, why am I? Maybe I think it's the coffee today. I shouldn't even be laughing like this.
We'll send you a case up there. Nah, you already, nigga. That ain't about nothing. Did you go
That
raw?
ain't about nothing.
yo, bro, yeah, for real, bro. That same day when he threw the stack of hundreds,
Right.
like that was like we were on the bed and you know I started out, you know, I'm eating a box, right, and after you would tell it was like some excitement, some connection. So when I pop up, she's scooting towards me for the penetration, and she kind of looked at him, and he was like, "Yo, go ahead, have a good time." And I was wild reckless. I just
Right.
It was what it was.
So it's only one time you went raw. You repeatedly went raw.
Yo, how did they go back to him being like this in that same classic fucking paid in full pose?
Let's say that was the fourth time, and then it was every time to the last time.
Got you. Gotta go raw sometime. You gotta go raw and Cassie. It be like that, my nigga. Some of my co-hosts, they got a couple questions for you, but I got one more question before they ask you a couple questions. We hear about 50's baby mom, Daphne, being involved in some of these things. Did you ever fuck Daphne, 50 Cent's baby?
Yo, Cam is wild in this interview. You know you can't talk about 50 like that? Or it's not 50, but it's baby moms.
Baby mother?
Nah, every time I was called or involved in any way, it was only Cassie specifically.
All right, cool, man. Hey, yo, my man Larry, Sheree, you got a question for
All
him?
right, bet. Okay, cool. Let's go to Logic. Are you back in today, bro? Okay, Logic is here. Come on.
Day 16 of the Diddy trial, and this morning we're getting to hear direct testimony from Bana, which is what her friends called her, Brianna Bonalon. She is the last of the inner circle of Cassie Ventura's friends from the time that she was dating Diddy. At least the last of the names that we've routinely heard during direct testimony from several
Kimberly Queen, I see you, girl.
different witnesses, including Cassie herself. Now, the testimony from Bana is coming on the heels of testimony from an expert.
So I said, Cam, Lady Shannon, you think Cam lost a lot of weight? Is he? Like mad skinny now? No, he's not. I feel like he kind of still young. Cam is like 40-something. How old is Cameron? Hold on. How old is Cameron? Cam's 50. Cam looks amazing for 49, right? He looks amazing. I don't want to go back to that clip, but shit. This don't look like a 50-year-old man. So maybe the weight loss is to preserve that youthful look. But to be honest, he do not look 49. Let's say that. You know, Confessions of Fire came out in 2000, I believe, or 1999. So Cam been putting out music for a long time.
Witness who was looking to verify the validity of the infamous surveillance video from the Intercontinental Hotel that displayed Diddy throwing Cassie to the ground.
Sorry, gotta go. Thanks.
Once upon a time, there was an infinity. Meticulously crafted to stir your imagination and dare you to dream. Luxurious 3-row dreams, where everything for every passenger could be just right. Introducing the all-new 2025 QX80 with Infinity Premium Care included, only at your Infinity retailer.
Had raised with this infamous video that has been seen by millions of people before this trial even started, which displays Diddy wearing nothing but a towel and socks running down the hall of the Intercontinental and into the elevator bank, throwing Cassie to the ground from behind. He grabs the back of her hood, throws her
I don't want to party with no damn cam.
to the ground, and then kicks her a couple of times before trying to drag her down the hall. And we've heard a lot of testimony about this incident. The very first witness,
Nico Banks says, "You gotta throw a pool party, brother. This is the wrong time to talk about any type of party, bro."
who came forward in this trial was the manager, who's actually can be seen later on that surveillance video, who arrived on the scene, and he's the one who actually shot video of the video. And the defense has raised issues saying that it looks as if it's been sped up, and that maybe this raises some sort of issues as to the credibility of the video, perhaps seeking to get the courts to toss the video altogether on the basis that it's not an fair and accurate depiction of what happened. But so the state brought in this expert witness trying to establish that it does fairly and accurately depict what happened during the cross-examination. After
we want to get to the good shit.
To the jury in order to desensitize them to the horrible imagery that's presented in the video, because the whole world had seen the video.
Balls deep, pause with the name. He says, "I'm kind of drained of this Diddy trial. It's not exciting like the Young Thug trial." No, this is way more exciting. If you guys remember the Young Thug trial, we were hearing about a lot of things from a lot of people we didn't know. This Diddy trial is this is a movie. The thing with the YSL trial, we could see it every day. And like, I ain't gonna lie, it felt kind of sad after a while because Thug was like a caged animal. Like, you could just flip to a channel and just see him just sitting there. And we saw his body language and even weight gain kind of fluster and kind of go up and down throughout like the span of a year or more. But in this, we can't see it. But I'm going to be honest with you, if you ask me, the amount of details and the salacious shit we hear is crazy. This is a movie.
It seems like they're throwing a dart out there, and the risk or so that we've heard all sorts of indicators.
Okay, I'm going to cut this for now. I am going to come back to it. There's another escort that actually said that they were involved. Not the black guy this time. It's a white guy now. So the escorts are starting to speak out. By the way, the black guy has a book that he's put out. He said he had referred to Cassie and Diddy as a married couple, didn't name them by name, but that's why he's probably on a press run. Now we're seeing another escort speaking out. You got to imagine everybody who testified, they're probably saying, yo, we're going to try to get our name known a little bit because we could probably sell some shit, right?
Jurors in his trial heard from a former security supervisor at that hotel. His name is Eddie Garcia, and he testified that not long after the attack happened, Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram, called him to ask for the footage. He said that he told her no on the phone, and again, the craven brutality, but of potential bribery and obstruction of justice, which are two predicate offenses that are required to prove, what do you know, racketeering. Something else that could prove racketeering and the sex trafficking charges? If Cassie Ventura, his girlfriend, was coerced through fear and beatings to take part in those kinky freak-offs with male escorts who were flown in from, other states, that is what you call sex trafficking. It's what you call coercion, forced labor, other predicate acts of RICO. I'm joined now by Sean Deering, a former escort who worked under the name Skylar. He says he participated in more than a dozen sex acts with Diddy and Cassie. Sean, it's really good of you to be.
Yeah, they got to vet this man background, man. Diddy used to tell Cassie he wanted big black dicks. This nigga is like damn near blonde. Like, what the fuck? This is not Diddy type. This is not Diddy type.
Here, I appreciate this more than you know, because this is a very sensitive topic. A lot of people are very nervous and concerned, and I can understand if you are as well. Let me start by asking you, when you were with Cassie and Diddy, did you ever get the sense that Cassie wasn't fully into this sex act that you were performing with her while Diddy was watching? Did you ever get the sense that she was doing this because she was being told to do it?
You know, I don't like to assume, and in those situations, I entered in full respect, and I went to everything I say. I don't want to overstep my boundaries and such, and I want to say, in all due respect to Cassie throughout the situation, that she treated me with the utmost respect, dignity, even through these crazy acts. You know, initially, when I had in the early days of seeing them, it seemed it was very jovial, like you know, to adults who.
Oh, this might have been the guy that says once he seen Diddy slap the fuck out of Cassie or heard it in the other room, he couldn't get hard no more. But Cassie also jumped in his lap. Maybe this is him. I don't know. What's his escort name? We got to figure out what's his escort name.
To explore further, but as the encounters grew, there was an energy about these situations and such that I
thought Cassie looked so beautiful in this outfit right here. This is Met Gala. She looks so beautiful.
You could say devolved. So for me to say, from my perspective, that I know for sure by force, it's a little presumptuous, but what I noticed on a physical, from just a physical person-to-person perspective, I'm also a bartender, was a bartender, and I did private parties and such. So I observe people a lot, and I'm that guy. I do appreciate. I love to serve, so I'll listen and such. I mainly was there to ensure I accomplished my goal for that evening.
Bro, did she look like she was with it or not? Answer the fucking question.
Say.
Can you qualify that a little more? You said the spirit changed. How did things change? And as these progressed into the latter part of the sex acts that you performed with this trio, did it seem that Cassie was as willing?
That's kind of how it devolved. It seemed, you know, I don't mean to speak in
we're asking you, fuck nigga,
but I perceived, you know, what we did. We were adults on a adult playground through that time and such. And so that kind of was the spirit initially, where she was very just easygoing and warm. And there were times where, in the later days, yes, it did seem very performative in a sense, and that's part of the kind spirit that Cassie has, that and people, you know, many people will ask, well, why do you go back? What's if you're so brave, why'd you keep going? Many won't understand the deep seed of arms that someone with power or fame may have. And I'm just...
By the way, pertaining to that question that Cam had asked the Punisher, because this nigga talking like, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Why even do a press run if you're not going to give up the information? Luca 50 said in regards to this question about, you know, Cam asking the Punisher about if he ever fucked Daphne Joy, which is 50's baby mom, that also Diddy was fucking with.
Some of my co-hosts, they got a couple questions for you, but I got one more question before they ask you a couple questions. We hear about 50's baby mom, Daphne, being involved in some of these things. Did you ever fuck Daphne, 50 Cent's baby mother?
Nah, every time I was called or involved in any way, it was only Cassie specifically.
All right, cool, man.
Okay, and then his caption was, well, here come the bullshit. Don't kiss my boy, pee-pee mouth. So he's kind of getting at his baby mom, calling her pee-pee mouth. Basically, I don't know if he's kind of like validating it, but was Daphne Joy a part of the freak-offs? Huh, interesting.
Happy Wednesday.
Okay, let me hear if this guy's gonna say anything.
To nobody. I'm just a small dude from a town in Paul, Hawaii. But I was involved in these situations, and you know, Cassie just. I guess all I can say is I have the utmost respect for her, and she shocked me throughout the whole experience. I'm sorry, my train of thought gets a little lost at times, but
it's okay. I do want to be more pointed in my question.
That was a pussy, my nigga. I'm playing. That's that Cam question. Yeah, that's a wild question Cam asked.
It's only because it's so critical, because they're debating her reaction in, you know, these sex acts. Her lawyers will say she was fully into it. This was sex between consenting adults. She loved it. She texted him. She loved it. She wanted to do these things. But the prosecutors are saying, and she herself said on the stand, no, I didn't. You know, at first, maybe, sure, but this became my job, and this became something I had to do, because if I didn't please him, I could get beaten up by it. And I just wondered if you ever got the vibe, or if you get a sense that that seemed to check boxes with you as well. That's kind of how you felt about how things digressed.
With that kind of framing, yes. Like I said, I don't want to come out and say that because I don't know what went on further. But the spirit that was there, it definitely devolved from cordial two couples having fun into, her even going beyond the moment and being kind enough, like she would put on the smile and then continue in her role. Put on the smile, put the head down, and then just continue in the role rather than in the early days of, it's seeing a joyful time. And I also don't want to speak too much beyond.
Why do an interview then?
To say too much for certain reasons. Out of respect for Cassie, for other reasons.
Bro, she already got her white boyfriend ready. Like, she married. Your time is over. Yeah, he got to be the guy who got up on the stand and said, and they were trying to ask him, you caught feelings for her, didn't you? This nigga looked like, bruh, like, just speak. Nigga, you're a fucking escort. You're not her ex-boyfriend. Now, I get it. You're like, you want to be kind of, you don't want to just shit on her or whatever, but there's a way you could tell your story. You told it on the stand, bro.
Can you tell me this? Did you ever sense any fear? Did you ever sense that Cassie had any fear of the way you and she behaved if Diddy were in the room or if he weren't in the room?
That's one thing, I use the term, she's a badass lady in the People article recently. And I mean that in the sense that she could step back and understand. I wouldn't use the word fear. I would use the word respect. She respected what her role was, what she was there for. And I ultimately believe that's the only reason I was seen more than once, is that there's somewhat of a kindred spirit between her and I, where I love to serve and I do truly do appreciate others. And I do believe that she has that as well deeply. And, she wanted to...
This fuck nigga like her, bro. He got paid to fuck. He fell in love.
Make the most of the situation. She wanted to satisfy the...
Let me ask you this, Sean. Sorry to interrupt, but let me ask you this. There was some episode you described where Sean Combs walked out of the room and you asked her a question and she shushed you and said, no, we can't talk until he comes back in the room. Is that true? Is that what happened? Is that the correct description?
Yes, that did happen. And I realized I would like to I'm going to try to keep our private moments a little more between us moving forward. But there was a moment, where the acts were happening and Diddy left the room. And I forget what I had said, but I kind of just like, hey, what about this or that? I forget what the topic was. But it was a moment where I kind of had a realization of the depths of the situation where it is, because she was, we were passionate seconds before. And then the next moment, you could tell there was something that had come over her in a sense that she knew it may cause jealousy or something of the nature if her and I interact.
Oh, so this guy think he was fucking her too good, that she was liking it. He likes her, and she's thinking that it's starting not to look like an act. It looked like they're really in love, and Diddy might feel a certain type of way.
In some way with him not there. So
you sensed a fear. You sensed a fear that came over her very quickly once he left the room, that there should be no conversation between you. Did it sound as though it seemed to you she was frightened?
That's why I use the term she's a badass lady. I wouldn't say frightened. I say she just understood the situation to the extent that she needed to. And that's why I'm sorry, like with her, I wouldn't say fear, it was mostly just she understood the situation and she and yes, I know that through those times, like that demon in his eye, yes, but I personally, I just see her as such a strong individual that I didn't necessarily see fear in her, just...
Yeah, this dude corny as hell. Listen, bro, if you trying to keep this respect to Cassie shit, Cassie's married to a nigga named Alex Fine with 3 kids. Yes, he don't want to hear about how niggas used to be jumping his girl off in a freak off, but he don't want to hear from a fuck nigga like you talking about how you used to fuck her and it was passionate and you still feel a type of way. Get your bitch ass on out of here. Either tell the whole story or stop with this, oh yeah. You think her husband want to hear your bitch ass too? Talking about, oh yeah, nah, I still out of respect for... No, it's over. She don't want your ass either. So you could tell, like, he's trying to not describe certain shit with the Diddy stuff. Okay, I get it. That's the abusive stuff. But he's kind of throwing in there like, yeah, me and her were passionate. Cassie don't want you neither, and her husband don't want to hear this bullshit neither, nigga. So tell the whole story or don't tell shit.
She knew her role at that time. Or she...
Sean Deering, I'm very appreciative of you speaking. You have spoken with the prosecutors, correct? They know your contributions to the knowledge base of your involvement, right?
I'll just... I've received guidance from individuals on. I'm just going to try to leave it at that. I'm here speaking with you, attempting to just have my side heard, and ultimately, I just want Cassie respected on all this. And my face was out there, and I just want to let my side be heard. But I don't want to overspeak.
Oh my God.
Happy Wednesday. It's the United States versus Sean Combs, day 16. So this morning, before they brought in the first witness, there were some exhibits entered, and these were seized from a phone.
Okay, we're going to skip past that forensic video person. We just want to hear about Banna, and then we're going to get back in the court to go get the second half of the afternoon with Banna, and then we'll get some more into stuff. The topics I didn't do, the Cardi B topic, top 5 topic, and also the Pusha T topic, we're going to push it to the end of the day, okay? When I mean end of the day, the end of the day of coverage.
Happened that day. He also said, what did he say? He said there was no issues at all with the cell phone footage. That was fine. He did say that there were some issues. 11-17, they would put a black space there, so we would know that it wasn't. Okay. Again, pointing out that maybe things had a bit of a 5-second difference here. And she also wanted to point out that
Banna comes up.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. Again, defense wanted to point out different camera angles cause different places to skip, and this is why. But then during the redirect, the government just said, yeah, timestamps aside, does this video depict accurately what happened? And Piazza said yes. So that was that. I think a lot of us were like, ooh, glad that's over, because that was kind of like that was tough to follow. But I get the overall reason that he was up there, etc. So, okay, the next witness was Brianna Bongolan, and we just started her direct testimony. Now, Bongolan, excuse me, she is friends with Cassie. She testified they're still friends. She's a graphic designer. She's a marketing creative director, and she first met Cassie in 2013 or 2014, I believe. Let me just check my notes. Yes, while she was working at a fashion company, and then they first kind of became friends when she was working at another company, Young and Reckless, and she and Cassie collabed on some designs. And essentially, I won't get into all the details of their relationship, but Bongolan said, that, and we haven't gotten into the details yet, but when asked her experiences with Sean Combs, she said he dangled me over a 17-story balcony, and then he threw me onto patio furniture, and I have had pains in my neck, head pains, and severe night terrors and PTSD from this.
By the way, her testimony seemed to resemble what you would see in a civil trial. She immediately goes into the damages you would see in a civil proceeding when you're seeking money and redress, financial redress for what you've been through. Hey, I have PTSD. I can't maintain a job. I can't sleep. I've had to get a therapist. I have night terrors, anxiety. When anyone of authority speaks to me, I jump. These are things you would put in a claim for a civil lawsuit to hopefully get some damages or compensation for damages. It's interesting when she testifies in a criminal case, she immediately says that.
Again, we didn't get into the details yet. I'm sure that'll come this afternoon. She said that, when she became friends with Cassie after collabing on this fashion stuff, they would do a lot of drugs together. I think the government was really trying to get ahead of that. She said they became more and more addicted over time, coke, K, ketamine. And she testified, and we heard GHB really for the first time. When asked if Diddy ever provided her with drugs, she said yes, G. And then she said that she had never tried G before, which was GHB. So again, first time I have really heard GHB mentioned. I think that's right. I mean, I don't know anybody else, but no, had not heard that mentioned before. But she also did testify, I think, again, the government was trying to get ahead of this, that she had also provided drugs to Cassie. She had previously sold drugs to other people, not often, and she does have immunity. And she appeared very nervous on the stand. She said she was scared of Puff, and I believed her. She did seem like she was genuinely scared. She talked about how she would sleep over at Cassie's. Diddy came over in the middle of the night one time, banging on the door. He threw a knife at Cassie. They were in close proximity, and she said that Cassie threw a knife back. She described a shopping trip where she was out with Cassie in 2016, and they hadn't told Diddy where they were going. They got their nails done, did some things, and Cassie showed her a text about, and Diddy listed all the places they had been that morning, and she said she was like, whoa, That's kind of weird. He knows exactly where you were and you didn't tell him. And then the last thing that she talked about before the lunch break was another incident in 2016 where, and I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly, where they were in Malibu at Diddy's place. They were, taking pictures with another photographer, she and Cassie, just for fun. And she said that Diddy came out and got in her face and said, "I'm the devil and I could kill you." And she describes being terrified. But she said she was actually extra terrified because she was on drugs. So, yeah, more later.
Okay. All right. Let's see what Unk's talking about. Okay, sure.
Sean, differentiate is that Mr. Piazza, he puts together a compilation. The system was old and cheap.
Okay, so they're still talking about the video. We want to hear about Bando. Looked like she wasn't on the stand for that long before they called for a break.
He went into that phone under the account Frank Black. 10 sex videos were found. The sex videos
10, okay,
on that phone were dated December the 4th, 2014, December the 4th, 2014.
This guy's pretty detailed. That's why we like Unk.
October the 14th, 2012, October the 20th, 2012, October the 14th, 2012, October the 14th, 2012, December the 4th, 2014, December the 4th, 2014, October 20th, 9 seconds after 11, and then they show Puffy walking down that same hallway at a minute. Is that a minute or hour? It's a minute and 16 seconds missing from.
Okay.
He said
there is someone like missing timestamps, but remember there's a motion camera, so I think that was a nothing burger.
There was no more footage from that angle. Why would?
Okay, let's get on to Brianna.
Exercise to go through the video, but we had already saw the video. We all know the video. We all know Puffy assaulted Cassie, and he was wrong for that. We already know that, you understand? But that's what the prosecution strategy is, and they just replayed the video over and over. And then Puffy's defense team, Tenny Garregos, shout out to her, she got up and did the same thing. You understand? Showing that, you know what I'm saying, we ain't scared to show it either. What's up, man? Because all it's showing is assault. Puffy's not on trial for assault. Puffy on trial for RICO. Puffy on trial for RICO. So, that's what it was.
3 minutes left of it.
On the stand now, Frank Piazza got up out of there. They got a new girl, a new witness on the stand. Her name is Brianna. Her name is Brianna Bungalin. They call her Bona. She is one of Cassie's best friends. So she say, and supposedly, I don't know how much this girl weigh, but I do calisthenics. I'm strong. A lot of you dudes lift weights. A lot of y'all strong. They say that she say Puffy picked her up and hung her over the balcony on the 17th floor, right? Making her think he was gonna drop her. Then picked her back up over the gate, the railing, and then threw her on the balcony into the balcony furniture, and she had like a bruise on her leg.
Damn, it is like the Hulk. Holding her over there, then lift her back up and be like, yeah, okay.
Now, I do calisthenics every day, and I'm pretty strong. A lot of you dudes lift weights, and a lot of y'all strong. Could you imagine? I don't know how much this girl weighs, but even if it's 120 pounds, 130 pounds, to pick it up, imagine picking up a bench press bar with 245 plates, picking it up, hanging it out over the balcony, right? Then picking it up, bringing it back, and then taking it down 135 and throwing it. This is what she.
My name is Rainao. I'm an artist from this beautiful island. I had my first connection with music before I was born. Since then, I search everywhere for music, and music search everywhere for me. That's my life project. Cuando yo hablo de mi país, yo me emociono. Puerto Rico es magic. Tenemos que cuidarla.
You've got a lot on your plate. SNWA is taking care of what's in your glass. Sourced from the Rocky Mountains, your tap water is tested 300,000 times a year, meeting or surpassing the highest quality standards. World-class scientists and researchers use cutting-edge technology to ensure your hard, mineral-rich tasting water is safe to enjoy. Cheers to that, Southern Nevada.
Podcast was sold because I got to get my Spotify numbers up so I can get monetized over there. Sean G, don't never stop. Peace.
All right, Unc. We see you. All right, people. Okay, so we should be back. Let's get right to it. Okay. So they're back 33 minutes ago. It says, anything before we bring the jury back in? AUSA says no disputes finally. He says, but now we think that Jane will not get on the stand today, given how this is going. I think we're going to get Enrique Santos on today. Some exhibits will be for Jane and some tech issues. So they're saying Jane Doe is going to come out tomorrow, which, wait. Yeah, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, which would be Thursday. The judge says, okay. Jury comes out, then they're told to return to the jury room. The judge says, the jurors, we have some technical issue. We have to go under the tables, and we're going to have you retire to the jury room just for your comfort. We'll bring you back in a few minutes. The jury comes back. Smizer then says, what happened on the balcony? Bungalow says, I was there. AUSA says, now, who else was there? Says Cassie and my ex-girlfriend at the time. So she confirms what we thought. She is lesbian. AUSA says, what were you doing? I was sleeping on the couch with my ex. AUSA says, were you doing drugs? He says, I can't recall. AUSA says, what did you do when Combs arrived? He says, well, I took my ex-girlfriend to the bathroom. I went, shh. Why did you go, shh? That's what the government asks. Bungalow says, I want to expose her to what I saw. AUSA says, then I went out to the balcony, and he was either lit a blunt or was about to. Mr. Combs came up behind me on the balcony. He lifted me up and put me on the railing. Could you show us how he held you? Bungalow says to myself, he says, show us. He says, damn, okay, how much did you weigh? He said, I can't tell because of the drugs, but maybe about 115 pounds. AUSA says, what did Mr. Combs scream is true? He yelled, you know what the fuck you did? I said back, I don't give a fuck. No. Oh, and I said back, I don't give a fuck what I did. AUSA says, how long did he hold you there? She says, how long it takes to say that multiple times, you know what the fuck you did. AUSA says, what happens next? He threw me on the balcony furniture and says, were you injured? Bungalow says, I didn't know at first. What did Cassie say? It says along the lines of, did you just hang her over the balcony? And I heard, her girlfriend is in the house. What's wrong with you? I guess like Cassie's confronting him like, bro, what is wrong with you? Like, you know, me and you get crazy, but you're getting crazy in front of people. Bungalow says he left and I left, and I wanted to take a shower. I felt disgusted. I saw a huge bruise on my leg with a piercing in the middle and back of the neck pain. Says, is this photo a fair and accurate representation of your leg? She says, yes. Bungalow says, I called one of my managers, and they said, if you're scared of anything else, just go to a chiropractor. He said, did you tell the chiropractor who had done this to you? He says, no. They asked, but I just paid and took the neck brace. AUSA says, is the neck brace in this photo of you? He says, yes. Did you ever talk to Mr. Combs about this? I said, I don't want no problems with you. He didn't say anything. AUSA says, is that the last time you saw them? Bungolan says, January 2nd, 2018. All right. I also have, I'm looking for it. Give me a second, Chad. So I have access to some exhibits here. I'm going to look to see if any exhibits. So I get the transcripts now, a couple days after. But let me see if, okay, all right. We got some new exhibits. Okay. Or did I read these already? Might have looked at these already. Give me a second. Combs admitted. Yeah, we haven't gotten anything updated in here. Sorry. Okay, yeah. Nothing that is updated. That's a message from Deontay, all to Diddy. Nothing too updated. All right, good. So this is after the neck brace thing. It says, how do you remember? He says, I tattooed the date on myself. What? He said the last date she saw Diddy I said, how did you remember that date? I tattooed the date. So why did you tattoo the date? It was the day I decided to get sober. It was a New Year's thing in Miami at the One Hotel. Puff, Cassie, and I did 8 hours of ketamine. So she's admitting after one bender with Diddy, she's like, yo, I got to get sober, man. Fuck this. She also tattoos that date on her. Says, are you aware that Cassie included the balcony incident in her complaint? Bungalon says, yes, I told her she had the facts wrong. It wasn't a hotel. And Tiffany, it says, it wasn't a hotel. And Tiffany. Ew. So it wasn't Tiffany. I guess maybe Tiffany's is lesbian as well. So I guess Cassie wrote that thing to in her lawsuit. Cassie referred to her ex-girlfriend that she was sleeping with on the couch. She thought that was Tiffany, but Bungalon says no, we weren't in a hotel, and my ex-girlfriend wasn't Tiffany. Okay, cool. Have you talked with Cassie about your testimony or hers? They said no. I've had nightmare. I scream. When was the last time you had nightmares? Bungalon says, the other day. Says, have you hired a lawyer about the balcony incident? He says, yes, my first lawyer I hired in January 2024. Said, did you mention everything in your first meeting with us? She says, no. So, by the way, they're jumping ahead of what the defense is going to say. Like, you know, everybody has a lawyer. So it seems everybody has a lawyer who is testifying. And that's to kind of prevent the angle of you're only hiring a lawyer because you intend to sue and try to get some civil compensation, right? All good. All good. We're trying to get caught up here, people. Trying to get caught up. I wanted to get to the idea of, remember they showed those exhibits?
On that video seems to be extremely high. So I personally do not agree with the strategy the defense seems to be employing here. Hanging out with Cassie, that he thought that they would do drugs together, and that at a certain stage in their relationship, looking around 2016 or so, that we've heard all sorts of indicators that Diddy was not happy about Cassie's drug use, and she testified that she did sometimes provide Cassie with drugs, and Cassie would pay for it, including OxyContin, cocaine, K, X, and an array of drugs. But there's some interesting stories that have come out already this morning that we had never heard before. One incident that Bana relayed is that she was at Cassie's house, which she said she was at frequently. She would frequently sleep there, either on the couch or on the balcony or in Cassie's room. And she said one time there was a pounding on the door, and that Diddy came in and he took a knife and threw it at Cassie. And he said, she thought it came close to Cassie, and the state asked Bono, how did Cassie respond? And she said she picked up the knife and threw it back at him. This is something we had never heard before, but obviously that is displaying certainly a reckless disregard, one would think, for basic safety. The second story we heard about that we had never heard is Bono testified that she was she was on the beach with Cassie, and Diddy was there, and that he came up to her and spoke close to her in her face, and said that I am your devil and I can kill you. And she said that it freaked her out, it terrified her. But she was asked, why did you continue to hang out with Diddy after that? And she said, I don't know. Why did you continue to hang out with Cassie after that? I don't know. Now, her testimony seems like someone who is somewhat affected, in the sense that she talks softly, she talks like someone who has suffered through some trauma. I am not speculating. There's been no talk that trauma has come at the hands of the defendant or from other things in her life, so I'm certainly not speculating about that. But I just wanted to convey to you the feeling that she gives when she's testifying, that her voice sounds very soft. A lot of the questions seem borderline leading, if not really leading, in order to try to elicit her testimony. And her testimony began, the opening statement that she made when she was asked, state your name. Do you know Diddy? Yes. How do you know Diddy? He tried hanging me. He hanged me over the 17th floor of a balcony window. That's how her testimony started. Now, we had heard talk in opening statements that Diddy had dangled a woman off the balcony of a window, and there was some testimony from Cassie and a third party. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Deontay, but I'm not sure. I don't recall precisely about the Bana on the balcony with Diddy incident. But the Cassie wasn't there when it happened. No one seemed to have been there aside from Bana. So we're going to have to hear from her. And the question is how much credibility she's going to have. She admits to doing a lot of drugs. She admits that she was on cocaine when Diddy gave her purportedly made that threat that he could kill her. So the question of her credibility is something that we certainly should foresee the defense is going to try and attack, because she seems as if she has done a lot of drugs. She's admitted that she's done a lot of drugs, and even on the stand, she seems very soft and almost a little bit lost. So it'll be interesting to see how the defense attacks, but one would expect that they're going to attack the reliability of her memory, given the volume of drugs that she's admitted to having consumed. That's what I've gotten to you so far. I'm really looking forward to seeing the balance of this direct. We'll hear more about the balcony incident and other...
Okay. We're back. We are back, people. All right. So they then ask, did your first lawyer send demand letters to Combs? It says multiple. The demand was high. He picked it. Said, did you approve the letter? And said, no, they were incorrect. I let him go. He said, who was your lawyer? Oh, wow. Tyrone Blackburn.
Imaginez le soir et les splendeurs barbares accoudées à ton bras.
This is easily the most organized buying section I've ever done. Link below to download the Opera browser for free.
You know what it is. We live. This is the Diddy trial.
Lawyer. Also, Rule 11 sanctions, or at least the committee. Whatever. Anyway, did people reach out to you? Tiffany, Cassie, the producer Rob Holiday. Was he friends with Mr. Combs? Yes. Mr. Westmoreland says, or actually, Mrs. Westmoreland says, let's have a sidebar. Judge says we may. They had a sidebar. Okay. Perfect. Remember that thing I was telling you about that they introduced some exhibits? I'm trying to get that understanding. I still haven't seen it.
They just kept looking at it frame by frame until you become the room that I was in. So I personally looks a little bit strange, the approach that the defense took with respect to Cassie herself. Now, the testimony from Bana is coming on the heels of testimony from an expert witness who was looking to verify the validity of the infamous surveillance video from the Intercontinental Hotel that displayed Diddy throwing Cassie to the ground, kicking her a couple of times, and then trying to drag her down the hall, and some very interesting cross-examination of the defense that raised a lot of eyebrows. I am Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Logic. I'm a New York litigator who has practiced in this very courthouse in the Southern District of New York, and I'm coming here from the Diddy trial trying to give you the legal perspective and background so you get a better understanding as to the opposing approaches of the state and defense, and see how this trial is progressing. If that sort of thing is your deal, I appreciate it if you like, share, hit the started, which displays Diddy wearing nothing but a towel and socks running down the hall to toss the video altogether on the basis that it's not an fair and accurate.
Now, by the way, real quick, I seen News Nation been doing a lot.
The News Nation.
Apparently, there's a juror that served in the YSL RICO case, and they testified, or not testified, but they...
Apparently, it's some jurors that was laughing while Cassie and them were giving their testimony. Apparently, allegedly, it was some jurors laughing. That's what they say. I don't know. I wasn't there.
They did an interview, and they feel like, you know, they feel like from what they've seen, and I don't know how much they've seen, they feel like the RICO is already proved. Remember, the jurors came out and said that if Thug had literally taken to a verdict, they probably would have voted to let him free. So they're saying in that case, they didn't really see the RICO, or maybe they were just punishing Fulton County DA's office for being super sloppy. But they're saying in this case, they feel like it's clear RICO. Let me see if I can find the juror. YSL juror Diddy. Let's see. Here we go. What? Oh, yo, we stopped listening to Law and Crime. We got to go back there. I know somebody I don't like that girl, but
how is that?
Where is it? Somebody just sent it to me. Give me 1 second.
Come on, Act. We got to get to the bottom of this. What up?
Okay, here we go.
Folks, the Diddy case has taught a lot of us more than we ever wanted to know about racketeering laws. But Diddy's hardly the first celebrity to face RICO. The rapper Young Thug was also charged with racketeering and stood trial for almost 2 years before agreeing to a plea deal last October. In exchange for pleading guilty to drugs and firearms charges and no contest to racketeering, he was sentenced to 15 years of probation, but no prison time. The foreman on Young Thug's jury was a man named Jason Collins, who's just launched a YouTube series about his experience, and Jason is kind enough to join me now. Man, oh man, good to talk to you as well, Jason. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
How much of a learning curve? I just can't imagine. You go from this normal life and you're thrown into a courtroom and suddenly you got to learn everything there is to know about RICO. Do you feel as a juror, you have a very different perspective of what it is to be found guilty of RICO than, say, all the people reading the headlines about Diddy?
Correct. I mean, it's so much that's involved, and it's so big. And going into it,
And by the way, I know you might be like, well, Thug got a plea. Why does this guy have any experience? Remember, Yak Gotti he went to the jury. So the jury did have to make some decisions, even if Thug wasn't involved at that point.
Knowledgeable about it, but after sitting in that courtroom for that amount of time, you get to start to learn, or start to learn about racketeering and RICO and the web that the prosecutors are trying to formulate and give us as jurors to understand what's happening. I will say that I'm a huge opponent of RICO, especially in that case right there, because I think that the court case was not set up in a manner to charge most of the defendants inside who were being charged in that courtroom. However, I will say that it's good to know what someone, I mean, the amount of evidence that someone should bring to the courtroom in order to be able to charge someone properly. But RICO, I was not a huge fan of it. I thought that the court case itself was done poorly. I've expressed that, and I believe the state was unorganized, and that's what led to either the plea deals as well as the verdict that the other jurors and I came up with towards the very end.
And what was that verdict?
The verdict is not guilty, except for it was one charge, if I'm mistaken, that was given to one of the defendants, and everyone else took a plea deal, including Jeffrey Williams. So yeah, it was a long process.
Let me ask you this. Now that you've been through it, are you way more mindful? You see a case like Diddy's and you're watching every single moment of it because you want it, because you know what it takes now. Are you seeing in Diddy's case that the threshold is being met for RICO?
Threshold is there, and I thought about that. There's what do you want to, as a juror, you want to be able to show a web and how things are connected. And it's up to the juror to follow the story. And for me in particular, I followed the facts. I was not going by the emotions. I was going strictly by the facts. So you have the defense team who provided their evidence and providing what they want us to know. And you have the prosecution team who did the same exact thing. However, if things are not matching up, then you start to wonder, okay, then now you have to differentiate who's telling the truth and who is stretching the truth. And so in this PDD case that's going on, which is worldwide, if I was a juror on that court case, I'm going to see any consistencies. I'm going to take out the emotions and I'm going to go by the facts. It is up to the defense team to provide me the facts that took place. Of course, the prosecution team is going to share what they have to share what they have to share. However, it's a web, and this court case right here does give a threshold, I believe, of a RICO case. This is a prime example of a RICO case. What Young Thugs was going through, there was a lot of made up things that.
Captain Hart, I agree with you. Pause on the name too. Damn, man. He said Thug was more of a RICO case than Diddy, if you ask me. He says there was multiple people charged. This is just Diddy. I agree. I feel like, that was more set up as a RICO case, like, albeit like a gangster gang, because some people think, RICO only goes towards violence with gangs. Not necessarily. And the reason why it did feel like, RICO to me is yo, I want you dead, but I want to shoot you myself. So somehow through the means, I get somebody to kill you or do other things that's going to further the reputation or further the whatever of whether it's a criminal street gang or further the mission to carry out crime, right?
That the jurors and I started to question. But this particular trial right now, there's a lot of evidence that's there, but it's up to the jurors to connect those dots and then formulate their own opinion once it's time for them to reach a verdict.
I can't wait to have you back, and I'm going to invite you early and often, Jason Collins. You really have your head around this like not many people do, so I really...
Okay, cool. We're waiting for some more tweets, so if you wonder why I'm like kind of skipping around a little bit, we are trying to just, buy some time and get some more tweets in. Speaking of which, we're now getting told, so it appears that, I don't know the sequence. So victim 1 is clearly Cassie. Victim 2 is either Jane Doe or it's Mia. So it's either Jane Doe or Mia. Jane Doe is still to come. There was a victim 3. Victim 3 started like she was mentioned at first, and then when we saw the superseding indictments, they almost start mentioning her less and less. And what was now told and what's been kind of understood is that that's probably Gina Hugh. And supposedly she's gone missing. Let me try to clue you in on what's going on.
Hey, y'all, it's your legal bestie.
And so, and again, Drill, make sure you do a clip that's like, where is Gina? That is the question. Where is Gina? Gina, I've said, I believe, is she tried to play a dangerous game, if you ask me. Because if you're listed as a victim, you must have talked to the police and you must have told them they may have taken what you have done or what you said publicly, which she did an interview saying that she was assaulted and abused. And she probably told the government some of that. Or they might have picked her up saying, hey, we have you in freak offs with other women, and they're saying that you're the one who had them doing X, Y, Z. And then at that point, you're going to be like, no, I was following orders. So now it'll be like, oh, so you're a victim as well. So regardless of how, if they called Gina, and if victim 3 is Gina, if they called her witness 3, that means she must have talked to the government. Now, here's the thing I keep telling you. She's Diddy's bottom bit. You know what I mean? Now, I think there's a few people hedging their bets saying, yeah, Diddy might be cooked, and if he's cooked, shit, I'll stick a fork in him. But if he's not cooked, I know he gonna respect my loyalty, and I think that's Gina. I think she don't know what side to pick. Cassie already picked her side. She's just going for the money. She's like, yo, if this motherfucker's not done, shit, I still want to be on the Diddy squad, And even though she's listed as victim 3, apparently she's missing. Now, let's play Attorney Simone talking about this. Here we go.
Attorney Simone, I am live from the Diddy trial, but I didn't want the content to stop. So here's a breakdown of how Gina got her secret settlement. This is from last week, so I kind of compiled it together, but you'll see. Let me know what questions you have in the chat, but this is a breakdown of how Diddy is working out secret settlements both for Gina and other witnesses that the defense is particularly concerned about. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Drop your comments down below.
Okay, so she thinks that Gina got a settlement, and that made Gina, maybe they had a talk to say, yo, Diddy, the feds want me to go say X, Y, and Z. I was mad at you too, but I don't want you to go to jail. You pay me, I'm not like that disloyal bitch Cassie. Cassie, her ass double dip. She took the money and she trying to send you to jail. We just want the bread. Give us the bread, and we won't, I ain't going to help the government at all. Look like that's what she's saying.
It's like the named victim 1 through 5 named and addressed in the indictment. They have security with them. My understanding is there's security.
At Institute for Supply Management, we've developed the gold standard certified professional in supply management certification to tackle the reality.
You could have like a air tag so that they come up missing. Yes. Even like it's serious business, because word is from my inside source, he has been tampering with witnesses. And I want him to get caught, so I want him to continue. So I don't want to speak too specifically on the kinds of tampering, but I'll say this because I've mentioned this before.
Is she doing Natasha K by just alluding to things that might be rumors, or does she know for a fact? So we got to be careful here. We're at court now. This is not gossip time, right? Did he do it or did he not? Okay, by the way, thank you guys for the 10. It says Pusha says UMG blocked Kendrick's verse over Drake's case, so Pusha paid 7 figures and gave them album points to get out of the deal. But if UMG has points, they're still legally responsible. Okay, I'll go back to that donation when we start talking about the Pusha T thing. Darren Foss says, didn't Diddy hang Wale over a balcony same way? Well, yeah, supposedly that's the whole allegation. Let's get into this Gina thing, though. Is she witness 3? And did she get paid off by Diddy to not participate and to go ghost? Apparently, you can't find her. She blocked me. Yeah, she blocked me on Instagram. So I can't even pull up her Instagram here. And if you pull up her Instagram, right, she hasn't posted. Her last Instagram post is right before the trial starts. She ain't posted since. She's been ghost. So now you find out the feds have said they can't find her. She might be doing what some people thought was happening in the Tory case with the driver, just going a long vacation, right? Like, yes, could they try to put her in jail because there's a subpoena, and they probably served that subpoena to her already, and she's entitled to show up there? Of course. But would the government go as far to jail somebody they're calling a victim? That looks crazy. So it looks like, she's going to stay ghost. Oh, we can't find her. She'll pop up after the case is done. I'm pretty sure the U.S. government isn't that happy with her. Maybe marshals are trying to track her down. Because if she gets up, if she answers that subpoena, they're putting her ass on the stand. You can tell. They plan to put her on the stand. Right. That was the conversation. Let's listen a little bit more.
Before. Remember, tampering with witnesses is also one of the predicate offenses. It is number 4, D, tampering with the...
Queen Prodigy, I don't think no one would be stupid enough to go in federal court and lie. I think what it'll be like a Kelsey testimony, where it's like, oh, I don't remember, whatever. Oh, I was mad then. Hey, can I plead the fifth on certain shit? When they're trying to hold her into a corner. I think it would just be a mess, and she might even turn into a hostile witness at that point. But I think to avoid that, because I think the jury could look at, let's say they somehow hold her into court and she got to speak about certain shit, because they're going to say, well, we have your interview you did with Tasha K here, where you literally said he forced you to get an abortion, he beat you here. Your stories are very similar to what we've been hearing. You don't believe that you were coerced or you were threatened by him or blah, blah. They're going to do whatever they can to get that story out. So I think rather than put her on a stand where with all due respect, Gina doesn't seem like the brightest cookie. I remember when she did an interview with Tasha K, she was like Tasha K's like, drink some water. She's like, you know what I mean? So she's not the smartest or the sharpest knife in the drawer. So you don't want your fate and 10 or 20 years of your life hanging in limbo, and she's the one that got to go up there and drop 20. Hell no.
The witness, a victim, or an informant. He's continued to do this because you got to remember, Diddy doesn't play fair. He wins first, deals with consequences later.
Okay, we just want to stick to some of the facts here.
He files a motion to dismiss it. Well, what he's been doing with the civil witnesses, so that the ones that have civil lawsuits.
Okay, it looks like she has a theory here. This is not necessarily fact. She believes that Diddy identified, him and his team identified the civil cases that were going to be potential witness in the criminal case. Now, remember, remember, they were going to bring it up in court when Diddy called Dawn's phone, or called actually Kalina, hundreds of times, or it was like dozens of times. And they're like, whoa, that's witness intimidation. That's witness tampering. Now, here's the thing. Diddy's been sued on a civil level. It's very standard that a demand letter comes out. After a demand letter comes out, sometimes litigation gets filed. And through that, you're going to have to talk to the other person's attorney. Or sometimes there's a conference and you talk to the other person. And they're saying Diddy knew the criminal case was going to come. So maybe he identified the strongest victims, right, that were also filing civil cases, used the civil case as a shield that he can't get witness tampering charges, settled with them, but on some he's not going to put it in paperwork and writing, but it's like, hey, listen, you can't help I'm going to give you, you wanted X? I'm going to give you X and a half, but you got to go ghost, go on a long vacation, go to Bali, turn your phone off, okay? You got to do this for 2-3 months, then you could pop back up. We don't ever got to talk. That money's all yours. We'll put it in escrow until a certain date. Who knows? That's her theory. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think Gina wants to be with Diddy. I think Gina, you see, just like how Cassie was distraught and heartbroken after she realized she stayed with Diddy for 11 years and Diddy actually had the audacity and the unmitigated gall to fucking write, my real soulmate was Kim Porter right after she passed, and Cassie's floored. It's like, damn, why I waste 10, 11 years of my life? I thought I was your soulmate. Now it makes sense. This is why you didn't want to give me a kid. This is why you didn't want to give me a family. This is why you picked this woman over me every single time. And you would refer to her as the mother of your children. But in fact, it was much more than the mother of your children. That's the real love of your life. That's your soulmate. I thought I was your damn soulmate. So that crushed her. That allowed her to, you know, probably open up to some of the other people she was having sex with. And one of those guys stole her away from Diddy. Remember, let's keep with that thought. Cassie doesn't file this lawsuit. Cassie doesn't file this lawsuit, chat. Cassie doesn't file this lawsuit until Diddy newborn baby love. Okay? March or sometime in 2023. Okay? I don't know exactly when baby love was born, okay? But yeah, she was 7 months then. So like at the end of 2022, so his youngest kid was born at the end of 2022. Okay? So that's when Diddy's youngest child was born. Remember, Cassie broke up the relationship and was pretty much very hurt after everything's making sense. This is a woman who is moving with scorn based on what she felt she didn't get. She feels a certain type of way about Diddy, that Diddy gonna call another woman his soulmate after she spent 11 years with him. She leaves him immediately. She starts fucking with the next guy she could find, which was a trainer who was giving her some penis on the side. That guy she eventually married, but she's still not over it. She's still not over it. She probably was living in regret this whole time, saying, this motherfucker really took a lot from me. As soon as Diddy has a kid, 2022, 3 months later, because that was the end of 2022, 3 months later, I think they said around March 2023, her lawyers send Diddy a demand letter. I need some bread, or else I'm writing a book. You could tell, and again, some people are going to say it's the Young Miami thing. Yes, that was happening in the media, the Young Miami Gina arguments and shit like that. But you got to understand a woman who thought that, oh, she donated her life to you. What really probably mattered was her watching Diddy, who probably used to tell her, remember Diddy is going towards 60 now, right? How old is Diddy? 55. He's going towards 60. I'm pretty sure he definitely hit her with what Shannon Sharp said. Yo, maybe if I was like in my 30s, I would have a kid with you. But I'm 55, baby. I'm 55. She was probably telling Diddy the whole time, I want to have a baby. I want to have a baby. She hits 30. No baby, no ring, no commitment, and the nigga saying he ain't your soulmate. She breaks up with him. She's like, I can't keep wasting my time with you. I need somebody who's going to take me serious. Makes sense, right? We all know when women hit 30, they start, yo, I ain't going to cap with you. There's a woman, she might be a chat queen, I think. I don't know. Very beautiful, though. Like, she messaged me and whatever, like, I can't remember what the conversation was, but I looked at her and she's like, oh, no, she said happy birthday. And she's like, my birthday is like right around yours. And I was just like, oh, happy birthday to you too. I could only see the PFP thing. Looks so beautiful. And I said to her, I said, oh, damn. She was talking about how she was, I said, how are you going to celebrate? She says, I'm not celebrating. And I'm like, yo, it's your birthday. You got to celebrate. I said, I'm having a show, the Chat Night show. And I was like, that's how I'm celebrating. And I'm like, damn, you don't got no pictures or nothing. There's nothing on her page, but you can see the PFP. And she said, I'm going to be honest with you. And by the way, if she's watching, I'm not going to tell your at name. I'm not trying to dox you. She said to me, I got mad the other day. No, I got sad the other day and I deleted all the pictures. I said, why'd you get sad? She said to me, I'm turning 30. Now, I only tell you that story psychologically. A lot of women go through some shit when they're hitting that 3-0. I'm sorry. We got to speak straight. So she told me she deleted all the pictures off her page and she didn't want to celebrate her birthday this year because she was turning 30. Not to say that's exactly what Cassie's going through, but Cassie left that man at 29 around 30. I could imagine Cassie at 22 is saying, let's get high, drunk, freak off all day. She now finna be 30-something. She tired of the freak offs. She ain't seen no ring coming soon. Ain't no kids coming soon. She fed up. Let's just talk about it. Thanks. Let's talk about it. Okay? Diddy probably been BSing her. Oh, now, hold on. Baby, now, like, yo, listen, I ain't do that with Kim. I want to wait till me and you get married first. Then I'm going to give you a kid. lying to her, stringing her along. She's doing freak offs after freak offs, after freak offs. She probably thinking, how many freak offs I got to give this nigga to get a fucking ring? Other women coming around, yo, why you with this girl? She's also not seen a cycle. Diddy got you at 19. Start having you doing freak offs at 22. He got a new girl who's 22 when Cassie's right about 30. He got Gina. Remember, Cassie's 30, she's 22. She's realizing you're on the rotisserie wheel. You're on a cyclical thing for Diddy. He about to get you out of here or grandfather you into, I can't even say Kim Porterland because she don't got a kid. So you about to get out of the mix. But when she sees that Diddy has that newborn kid, look, December 27th, 2022.
What'd she do?
2.5 months after that, she approaches Diddy with a lawsuit. Don't the timing make sense, people? Diddy was bullshitting her for 11 years. She wanted a kid. Never gave her a kid. Probably even told her, baby, I'm too old to have a kid. I can't do that no more. I got 5 already. Like, we could adopt or something like that. Or we could do some in vitro. We'll do it later. But I'm going to marry you, though. I'm going to marry you. Bullshitting her the whole time. When she look up now and see, wait, that nigga got a baby? Oh, hell nah. It's time to sue. It's time to sue. Which also, if that's the case, again, I'm speculative right here. I'm doing some assumptions. I'm not sure if this is true. If that's the case, that means, and by the way, I'm wondering what her current man is thinking. It feels like she was separated from Diddy, but her heart never moved on. Her heart was living in regret and probably saying, yeah, this nigga cool and everything, meaning her husband. But damn, I wish it'd work out with Diddy. If only that fuck nigga would have just gave me a kid and stopped having me doing freak offs. And stop putting his hands on me. We would have been good. Because if on the timeline that I'm going down this rabbit hole of theorizing about is that she gets with Alex Fine 2018. It's not instant like, oh, I'm ready to leave Diddy. She keeps fucking Diddy going back and forth. She's still fucking Diddy. They even try to do a couple last freak offs. She marries the guy, starts to have kids, and she's still looking over at, remember Diddy, we don't know if Diddy said anything like, privately. That didn't really come out in court. Maybe like saying, yo, leave that nigga, come back to me. We don't know that. But she kind of communicates with him somewhat, very sporadically. But she's still looking over what's going on with him. Probably seeing the Young Miami shit. Seeing the Gina shit still happening. Saying, yeah, that bitch Gina thought it was all sweet. She going through what I went through. Yup. Good for her, right? And then she sees the baby. She must have seen the baby. Had to happen. That's what I think, okay? Fetus OG Bossy says, free Diddy. Thank you for the 5, brother. All right. What do y'all think about that theory?
He's been going to them and he's been saying, listen.
So now we're back to Gina.
The government is trying to seize his assets. We didn't know where we could get access. He's likely paying around $3 million per month for the defense in this trial.
Yeah, he's definitely dropping it back. Let's one more thing before we get back into court. Gina, victim 3. I want a little bit more information on this. I want a little bit more information on this. On this.
How many months he been doing this shit already? Ooh, wait.
What up, y'all? So, as the Diddy trial proceeds, we have now found out some additional information about victim 3.
Oh, she has a nice voice for like a narrator. She should do a documentary narration. Who is she?
So if y'all don't know, Diddy's trial actually starts on Monday, and right now he has anywhere between 1 to 5 victims that may be testifying against him.
This was right before the trial started.
Late last week, the feds reported that victim 3 is missing. Hey, make sure you subscribe to my page. I'm trying to grow over here. They don't know where she at. She ain't picking up the phone calls. They can't find her. Now, from the start of this case, we started to hear a lot of details about who these potential victims could be, and it wasn't coming from the feds. It was Diddy's lawyers. Diddy's lawyers were dropping little breadcrumbs here and there that was telling us who these victims were. So I remember like way back in December, Diddy was trying to get bail, and his lawyers was like, listen, this is not a RICO case. All these victims, they're all Diddy's ex-girlfriends. So I said, all of his ex-girlfriends. Well, that's going to dwindle this list down because most of us know who Diddy's ex-girlfriends are. So once we learned ex-girlfriends were involved, I immediately thought about Gina Hunn. And the reason I thought about Gina is she did an interview way back in 2019 before Cassie ever filed her lawsuit. And she talked about how when she was dating Diddy, he was extremely violent towards her. He made her get abortions. She said something like he pushed her down the stairs.
Let's
He
put the clues
stomped on
together,
her
y'all.
belly. She
Let's put the
did
clues
this
together.
interview with Tasha K. And a lot of people didn't pay no attention to it. They thought she was just telling these weird stories. But some of us was kind of like, hey, I mean, I believe her. Sounds like Diddy to me. So when his lawyer came out and said, hey, these are all ex-girlfriends, most of us was like, okay, Cassie's one of these
We're going to take a break and go into the DDG stuff. Just give me 1 second, chat. Trust.
victims, and Gina most likely is one of these victims as well. Now, I don't know who the other victims are. I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Now, today, the judge came out because victim 3 is still missing. We don't know where she's at. And he ruled on some motions that Diddy's lawyers had put into place. And as he's ruling on these motions, he's non-purposely telling us more information about victim 3. And we've put 2 and 2 together and pretty much have confirmed, yeah, victim 3 is Gina. In one of his rulings, the judge said victim 3 was someone who had already done a public interview. So, which one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends has done a public interview?
Good catch. Good catch, girl. Good catch. I like that.
Gina. She sat down with Tasha K and talked about how Diddy was extremely violent to her. Now, what's even crazier about Gina potentially being victim 3 is about 3 weeks ago, there was a motion that said all of the victims in the case would be referred to as Jane Doe. They didn't have to use their real names. They could be completely anonymous. Cassie was like, yo, I don't want to be no Jane Doe. I want to use my name. So everybody was cool. Then about a week or so ago, victim 3 was like, don't call me Jane Doe. I'm cool with moving forward and using my real name. So about 2 weeks ago, she was completely in on this case. And not only was she in, she was going to go by her real name because there was something in the paperwork that said, hey, she's already known to the public anyway, so it's no point in her being a Jane Doe. She was ready to testify under her name. But fast forward to today, she's missing. The feds can't get her on the phone. They can't get in contact with her. They don't know where she's at. But guess what? I don't think she's missing. This is just my speculation. I think Gina has taken a payday. I think she's disappeared on purpose. Her lawyer released a statement to TMZ and said, hey, victim 3 is going through some personal things right now. That's why it's kind of hard to get in contact with her. Listen, y'all, we saw this same play in R. Kelly's first trial. The first R. Kelly case, when he was accused of being with Sparkle's niece in a video, and the girl at the time was underage, a lot of people testified, watched that tape, and said, yes, that's Sparkle's niece. She's underage. Teachers, principals, friends. But you know who didn't testify? The victim and her family. You know why they didn't testify? Because just like Gina, they went missing. Nobody could find them when the trial started. Fast forward 20 years into the future, and R. Kelly is hit with his Fed case, and we find out in that case that those people didn't go missing like out of the blue. We found out that R. Kelly had paid for them to go stay in the Bahamas for the whole duration of the trial, and when he was found not guilty, they came back and he even gave her family members jobs. Crazy. And this is what everybody was afraid of. This is why people did not want Diddy to have bail, because people felt
That's a fact.
like if you let this man get out, he's going to start influencing victims and witnesses. He's going to start paying people off.
Somebody said Gina fine. Gina washed up now. I ain't going to cap with you. No disrespect to her. She washed up now. She washed it. You could tell that the Diddy monthly allowance ain't been hitting. I watched her twerking. Gina.
Act is a fool, man.
And I can see why Diddy was like, all right, man, let's wrap this up then. Let's wrap it up then. Let's wrap it up then. Yeah. Once I seen that.
I'm a real ass, rich ass, from the, Go.
Actually, maybe she not washed. Hold up. Nah, she washed. Washed. Yeah. Yeah, she just hanging on to the bandwagon right now. It's all good. Diddy, she ain't get the drill. Diddy low key on his what's that nigga name? Leonardo DiCaprio shit. You hit a certain age, it's time for him to dip. You out of there. Gina, he's out of there. Trust. Yeah, you know the age that he left Cassie. He I told you Young Miami fucked this whole thing up. But the next joint he was going to have was going to be 23. Trust.
He may start threatening people. This is what we knew what was going to happen because it was rumored he did.
Oh, let me see if this shit even move.
Spit it on his mouth.
Nah, this is that long back energy. I ain't going to hold you. That's long back energy. I can't even hold you. That's long back energy.
Nigga, you gonna have shit. Get it up for breakfast.
Hell no. I could see why Diddy was mad. Diddy and the freak off, and Diddy probably tell her, throw it back on that nigga right now. She just throwing her whole back on the nigga. Yo, put the arch in the back, stupid. Hold on, man. Give me some more Astroglide. Put the arch in the back. No, I'm playing. Let me stop. These are inappropriate. I shouldn't even joke like that. I'm not mature enough for this.
Yo, it's too hard.
Yo, she just wiggling her thighs. Yo, Gina, I ain't trying to like shame you or nothing like that, but I see why you got Young Miami. Young Miami gonna throw that shit back. That's a fact. Let's look at Young Miami. This is how you supposed to. Come on, you gotta get a chick from Florida to throw it back like Young Miami twerking. Come on. Bumbo Clyde. See that? Yo, see that? Bumbo Ross Clyde. Bumbo, see? Yo, go! Oh my God. This how you get a De Leon deal. Oh my sweet Jesus. This how you get a De Leon deal. This how you get your own show. This how you call you Shorty Wop. That's how you do it. This right here, this long back jiggling, thigh wiggling, iron board shit. This I ain't dissing you, Shorty. Don't get mad at me.
Nigga, you gonna have shit. Get it up for breakfast.
Yeah, she had a cute face though. The top might have been good. Still might have been good. No? But I could tell. Back shots was probably a pain. Yo, throw it back on me. Yo, why are you wiggling your ankles, man? What are you doing? What's that dance that they do like go like this and you keep put your legs like what dance is this? What little dance is this? He looking at it like this ain't even natural talent. This natural talent. Yo, Diddy trying to throw a stack of hundreds. You just heard a stripper nigga. He want to throw a stack of hundreds. Nigga, Young Miami, she move and act like a stripper, nigga. Look. Bumba Bras Clyde. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Nah, this different. I'm sorry. You see, Diddy, that's why Diddy had to come back to a black queen. But he fucked with the wrong one, a ratchet chick you can't do all that shit with. Nah, hell nah. You got to get a long back, no rhythm type girl to get off the freak off and all that type of shit on, bro. Because a chick like this, when a chick like this could twerk her ass and throw her ass like this and that type of motion that's organic, that almost is making its own beat, especially if the twerk wind don't smell crazy, you gonna have to trick on her ass. Like a chick like this, she gonna be like, yes, that nigga bought me a Maybach, bought me this, bought me that. And that's what fucked everything up, man. I told you, it's Young Miami. Bumba Clyde. Jesus. Chat, gotta keep it a bean with you. And she got that little moose knuckle, like you could see from the. Nah, I'm playing. Let me stop. This is a serious case. Yeah, this is when Gina realized it's over. It is over. You could compete with Cassie, but not motherfucking Young Miami. And you know how Young Miami got a big mouth. Pause. Well, I ain't she pause, but like the way how she talks shit, you know she could, nigga, she could suck an ice cube through a straw. We all know that. So you know she's on a different level. That's the thing. I don't even like ratchet chicks, but nobody fucks better than ratchet bitches. It's like their attitude match their sex skills. Trust. Nobody fucks better than ratchet bitches. Their attitude usually, the nastiest attitude, they suck the best dick. Trust. I'm telling you. All right, don't believe me. All right.
I don't know. I'm married.
Wait, what happened? Why my offline on kick? My offline on kick? Oh, we're back on. Oh, yeah, I got to refresh on kick. I don't know what happened right there. Okay. We good? I thought YouTube was telling me, chill out, nigga. Chill out. Chill out. Shit.
Act wild in the day, boy.
Shit. Shit, I'm lying? If I'm lying, tell me. Shit.
Whoa. Alright, come on now, bro. Tripping now, bro. What are you doing, bro?
I'm about to check in the game, gang. I'm about to. This is how you go check in the game at the freak off. You know LeBron just throw the shit in the air? Yo, hold on. Bomba clot. Hold on. Young Miami good pussy clot. Hold on. Nigga, I'm getting up in this freak off today. This is how, no, that's how you gotta get up in the game, Chad. Word 2. You trying to get up in the freak off, you gotta just start oiling up. Ain't that some nasty shit? But whatever, man. Somebody said she can't even dance. Man, all the chicks with fat butt, they could do like 3 motions, but trust me, it always look good. It worked to every song. It hit on every beat. It's all good. Yo, you ever seen players at the NBA when they about to get in the game? Like they're over here, they're doing all this stretching, whatever, and then they pull the thing off, ready to get in the freak off, then start oiling yourself up. All right, man, this is about to be crazy. It's gonna be a slip and slide up in this motherfucker.
This shit, wow.
For real. Oh, man. Okay.
On our show, gang.
Now y'all gonna see I'm clowning Gina.
We see all the crazy
Gina,
shit.
baby girl, you can show up to the trial. It's fine.
Yo, it's too hot.
Watermelon.
Let's get back to the tweets, man.
Real nigga.
Enough horse playing. Well, I got baby oil in my hand.
Gang,
I told you. A chat queen, right, who came.
He got baby oil on the mouse, on the desktop. Act tripping, bro. Hey. Not the oil.
End of the show, gave me a gift bag. The gift bag had 2 things: Ciroc and baby oil. She said she wrote me a letter. Let me see. Oh, nah, she gave me the ultimate freak off pack. She said she wrote me. I didn't read the letter yet. I didn't read the letter. I didn't read the letter yet. I didn't read the letter. Okay? Shout out to my chat queens, man. I love y'all. But she also gave me a condoms. This was the only confusing thing about the gift she gave me. There is no condoms in a freak off. The fuck? I understood the baby oil. I understood the Ciroc. The condoms just fucked me up. I'm like, they're not using no fucking condoms. They're fucking raw. Like, bearskin raw. I said, she trying to have a safe freak off. Like, hell nah. Nobody uses the condoms in the freak off. Condoms in the freak off is like blasphemous. I'm sorry. Beautiful and blessed TV. I love you too. Somebody says there's a chat queen responsible for yesterday. Yes, it's a chat queen that's responsible for that, but it's all good. But I really think my chat queen didn't do nothing. But I'm now starting to think, y'all know I drink all the time, but I haven't drank Ciroc in a while. This shit had me floored. Maybe it's because they got mad sugar in it and like it didn't feel like alcohol, and then I just like knocked out. Or not knocked out. I tried to take a 5-minute nap and woke up an hour later. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the tweets, y'all. Don't be entertained by my shenanigans. And if you see this clipped on Twitter and people say I'm weird, it's because I'm trying to entertain. It's all jokes. All right. Listen, they're back. I feel oily now. That's my thing. I'd be asking some weird questions. Yo, bro, after you oiled up for 2 hours and fuck Cassie, were you allowed to take a shower before you leave? Because to be that oily and have to get back in your clothes. I don't know. Whatever. They're back. It says, who did Mr. Holiday say he was calling for? Banner says Puff. What offer was he authorized to offer? Westmoreland says objection. They sustain it. Says, how do you feel during the call? He said, I declined the offer. Okay. Who's Holiday? Oh, okay. He said, I declined the offer. So somebody on Diddy's team called to try to offer her some bread, right? So I declined the offer, not responsive. It says, sustain, move on unless you're prepared to ask some foundational questions like we discussed in the sidebar. The AUSA said, did you talk with him again? There's another sidebar. Sidebar. Judge says the objection are sustained. Move on. So they're kind of scolding the government. Move on with it, right? You can't elicit an answer or elicit, because what happens is if the witness says something or introduces something, now they could go down that route. What this usually tells me, because remember this is a government's witness, they kind of rehearse this. Like you meet with the government a bunch of times. We've heard some people meet with the government 27 times. They know you should know what they want to ask you, and you should know how they kind of want you to answer, that they could go in the right direction, right? The judge says the objections are sustained. Move on. Smizer said, your lawsuit, did you write it? Bongolan says, no. AUSA says, how much is being requested? Bongolan says, 10 million. AUSA says nothing further. The judge says, cross. Westmoreland says, yes, please. Says, I need to ask you some questions. You have immunity as long as you say whatever is true today, right? Bongolan says, yes. So who decides if you're lying? Bongolan says, prosecutors. So now this immunity is not immunity. So there is blanket immunity, which means even after the trial, you could say, let's say you got immunity for a murder. Let's say you said after the trial, I did it. They can't charge you. They rarely give out those things unless it's really part of a complex cooperation agreement, because once you give out that agreement, you can't go back on it. What they normally give out is this use immunity or immunity for the testimony you say, okay? And that basically says if you say anything that's incriminating, they cannot use it against you, right? Now, there's some, ethical questions that arises from that, because let's say someone like Woody gets on the stand and he doesn't have full immunity, which means he can't, he still could get charged with the murder, but he has immunity from what he says on the stand. Let's say he says on the stand, I did the murder. And then he describes it in really good detail and says, the body's going to be over there. Remember that murder weapon? I can't find it's over there, but I did it. It's not the person there. Yeah, he has immunity from what he says on the stand, but he could still be charged with the crime if they find evidence without him using his testimony. Say they get a independent call that says, hey, I think we know where the gun is. And then they find the gun and they connect it to him. Do they still charge him? It becomes an ethical question of, yeah, you can't use his statements against him, but his statements might give you or clue you in to the right path of investigating said crime, which could later lead back to arresting that same person. So usually prosecutions, they don't ever really put it on paper that we'll never prosecute you, but they'll just say, as an ethical portion, I think there was a case I went to the Supreme Court, they're not going to look to prosecute you, okay? Unless you perjure yourself, right? Cool. And in some places statewide, I do know that there are agreements that say it's kind of worded in a way where they're just promising you we're not going after you, all right? Anyway, but it's not full immunity. Okay. It says, who decides if you're, it says, yes, as long as she tells the truth. It says, who decides if you're lying? She says, the prosecutors. Westmoreland says, Miss Bongolan, you're a graphic designer, right? She says, yes. She says, you and Cassie would work on designs, including at odd hours, right? She says, yes. You were focused on a t-shirt design around that time, right? She says, there was a lot of things. Westmoreland says, did she ever ask you to come over? Says, yes. Westmoreland then says, you suggested Cassie to do a photo shoot in the pool in just a t-shirt, right? Bongolan says, nah, that wasn't the first idea, but yeah. Westmoreland says, you began to feel comfortable with Cassie, didn't you? Bungling says, yeah, how about? Westmoreland says, did you spend the night with Cassie? Yes. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to stop here and say, why does it sound like she's trying to almost say, you wanted to fuck Cassie because you a lesbian? I don't know. But they're kind of turned. This is like a weird line of questioning. Like, huh? You went to parties with Cassie, right? Bungling says, not going to parties. We just partied. Westmoreland says, you did a lot of drugs with Cassie, didn't you? She says, yes. So how did marijuana make you feel? Why I feel like they're asking questions that they want her to say, made me feel horny or something. Like, am I thinking, or am I, the Pornhub shirt is like affecting my brain? I feel like these questions are almost trying to make it seem, well, all right, let's get to where they're trying to go. Pause. How did marijuana make you feel? Sometimes hungry. How did ecstasy make you feel? Uplifted. How about G? That's GHB, which, so like the negative parts of alcohol. So what about perk? I threw up. Cocoa Puff. What's that? That was a blunt with weed and cocaine. Wow. So you would agree that you would agree with me that you and Cassie had a serious drug problem, right?
They are doing extreme drugs.
You sold drugs to Cassie a lot, right? Yeah. At one time, you got her like hundreds of dollars in pills, right? Or hundreds of pills, right? Yeah, they were hers. Name the drug dealers. I don't know if I can. Don't worry. Let's refresh your memory. In this job, when your clone line didn't work out due to the skater mentality of the diamond supply, it said, I believe they saw the vision, but whatever. So you believe that you were one of Cassie's best friend? Yeah. But you didn't meet Mr. Combs for over a year. And that was her man. She says, yeah. Was Diddy standoffish with you? Yeah. Did you talk with Deontay Nash after his testimony? Yeah. But not about his testimony, though, right? We know what's going on. Westmoreland says, you don't need to talk because you know. And then they would say, objection. They sustain it, okay? Westmoreland says, so you hired Tyrone Blackburn to sue Mr. Combs. Bungling says, no, it was to seek justice. Your definition of justice is suing Mr. Combs. Bungling says, could you rephrase that? Suing for money, is that your definition of justice? She says, yes. Wow, that's kind of, all right. In November 2023, you were aware Cassie filed a lawsuit. You were working together then, weren't you? Yes. AUSA says, may we have a sidebar? Judge says, you may. Westmoreland's on her ass, low key. Westmoreland's on her ass. Yo, why everybody in my chat has these, like, somebody named Wet Booty say, yo, somebody call Ack and tell him to take a break for this case and talk about DDG. Okay, do you want us to talk about DDG? We could talk about DDG. Come on. All right.
All right, gang. You already know what it is. That's enough for the Diddy trial today. I got to go. Unfortunately, got to go handle some business. And I'm going to be back later on tonight. We're going to keep this thing running. I kind of probably want to hear what he's talking about with DDG. But I think it's that lawsuit. Now, really not really, you know what I'm saying, trying to get into the negativity of that. Just trying to stay up on this Diddy case. You feel me? So, it's your boy, Cinco Benz the Man, trying to get $100,000. Y'all help me out. I can't do it without you. Hit that like, hit that follow. Let's run these likes up. Let's keep doing what we do, you know what I'm saying, in these YouTube streets, because we're going to